Let me tell you something, brother. Welcome to the Real Weird Sickos podcast. I ain't your mean buddy, I ain't your mean bro, and I sure as hell ain't your mean best friend. I'm the mean bastard, Charles Kahn. And with me, as always, is not Dojangles this week. She's out. But I did recruit somebody who's also lovely. I've got a lovely friend who's, everybody knows her, everybody's seen her, the whole world is seeing you. Mint Salad.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hi. Hello. How are you?
Hello. 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 Oh, hello.
Hello.
We're recording live from Weirdsville, Sicko Town, USA.
Where is that at? I don't want you to dox yourself. Sorry, that's an inappropriate question.
It's next to the dump. That's where it's at.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why there's that smell.
I was wondering where that was coming from.
Yes. It's a lovely, lovely smell when you're upwind, but when you're downwind.
You know, I prefer to be underneath the dump. Personally, I would take a little shovel, dig a little hobbit hole, live in the dump personally. But I would make sure it's very clean first.
Well, there's so much stuff at a junkyard, at a dump. Like, you never know what you're going to find. Like, there's all sorts of, like, old cars and old junky parts.
Or carcasses. Or cadavers.
Well, you know, if you're looking, if you were like a ghoul who needed body parts, that would be a good place to go looking.
I mean, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Sure.
So, yeah, exactly. If you need a hand, just go to the dump.
Yeah. So, Mint, tell us everything about you, who you are, where you came from, where you started, why you're here, or I'll just say it. All right. So everybody in the world got to see you this weekend. Everybody in the world, I think. Have you hit the 20 million mark yet on that video? Because it's probably going to hit more than that.
As of this recording, I'm at 18 million right now.
I lowballed it. I said, "Oh, she's gonna hit 10 million. Like that's gonna be. This is a banger of a video." And I was like, "Oh, it's even exceeded everything I could have thought." I'm so proud of Mint Salad. Like I can't add a girl Mint Salad enough on this thing. Like you yelling about Star Wars has captured the imagination of so many people around the world. Everybody loves it. Everybody knows the bit you're doing. I don't want to sell the bit and say what the bit is. For people that don't know, they need to see it within 2 seconds. They'll understand what the bit is.
Yeah, exactly.
And visually, why you're so captivating to the world.
Oh man, I read this comment. There's a guy who's like, "I'm blind," but she makes good points. So it goes well with the blind guys too. You don't need to have eyes. You can enjoy it while you're blind. Just, I advise you turn down your headphones because I do scream. I didn't at all audio treat it because I'm a big old dummy. I should have, but it's I just recorded it on my phone and then I put it in Adobe Premiere and it says it's all hitting the reds and I'm like, oh, I put a mental note to myself, maybe I should lower the volumes, and then I never lowered the volumes. Oopsie.
Whoopsie daisy.
That was fun. Yep.
Well, you can,
yeah.
It's the stuff that you think, this is never going to work. This is kind of silly. Maybe I shouldn't publish this one. I don't feel good about it. That's the one that's going to be the one that blows up. That's the thing that you never think, this is a goofy thing we did.
I got to be very honest with you. I was just like, man, I recently watched Return of the Jedi. First of all, I should mention that I do daily movie reviews, and I recently reviewed Return of the Jedi, and I had some problems with that. I have strong opinions about Star Wars. I've seen all the Star Wars movies,
I know
which ones are good.
Did you watch the Ewok movies, both of those?
Wait, are you talking about the holiday special?
No.
Is that a Ewok movie?
There are 2 movies that were made for TV. They were like the Search for Endor or the Battle for Ewoks. They were like dumpy made-for-TV movies because they had those Ewoks and those sets. And they're like, well, can we fart out another movie? Actually, we can fart out 2 movies.
Wait. Was when were these movies made?
Oh, they have to have been in the glorious time of the late 80s.
I definitely did not see these movies. I didn't know they existed.
Yeah,
I did see the main Star Wars movies, though.
Battle for Endor was one of them. What was the other? Caravan of Courage. That's Caravan of Courage, 1984. Wow.
What are they driving, a van? Why is it a caravan? What are the Ewoks?
1985 for the Battle for Endor. So they did them back to back in the 80s. And they are as cheesy and goofy. They're not talked about as much as the holiday special, because the holiday special is... Oh, man. The Star Wars holiday special is about as...
I've never seen it.
You've never seen it? You've not...
No.
When you see it, one of the puppets is referred to as Cunt Face. And when you see Cunt Face...
Really?
The puppet... Yeah. Well, not in the special. All the people that did the special effects... And the writer, Bruce Valanche, who wrote a lot of this stuff, he referred to it as Cunt Face. I could see him naming this thing Cunt Face. That'd be a very Bruce Valanche kind of thing.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
And when you see this thing, that's exactly what it is. It is exactly what it sounds like. And it's standing there with...
It looks like a vagina?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's standing there with B. Arthur, who's like singing a song. It's a variety special from the 70s. So in the 70s, that was the hot thing, was we've got Red Fox, what do we do with them? Let's have them do a variety hour. Sonny and Cher, the variety hour, where it's singing, it's dancing, it's sketches. You know, it's like a mixed bag of stuff. Like, you might have a magician, you might have a cooking segment. Like, you don't know what it is.
God.
It's a variety. It's like a showcase.
It sounds like a cash grab just to make a bunch of toys. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well,
pointless.
The Star Wars holiday special is especially heinous because it is so made for TV and such a downgrade from what Star Wars looked like. Even though it has a lot of the same puppeteers and a lot of the same stuff, something about it just feels very off and very bad. Like, almost
was there
instantly.
like a same budget?
I don't know what was going on. It is the premise for it is that Chewbacca has come home for his family, and like they mix in the different variety stuff in a weird way. So like they're watching TV and like different TV shows that they watch. Like, that's part of the variety special. There's like a grandpa Chewbacca who has...
So meta.
Yeah, the grandpa Chewbacca has this, like, I guess you'd call it like a porn device. He, like, opens up this little hologram thing and a girl dances around. And she dances for a long, long time.
What's the point of that except for the jack off to it?
That's... Everyone I've ever showed this to. Like, it's hard for me to sit there and watch. But, man, I love watching someone watch the Star Wars holiday special. It's like a two girls, one cup kind of thing. You just see their reaction to it, just like, my God. Just like they're staring at Werner Herzog, staring at the footage of the bear guy being ripped to pieces and just shaking his head going, my Lord, what footage. I can never release
my goodness.
this.
The world has gotten way too far away from good cinema, like literally anything before the sixth movie. Yeah, Star Wars 5 and 4.
Yeah, those are
were honestly
good.
pretty good.
Those are so good.
5 is the best.
Yeah,
5 is the best.
I really, the first Star Wars is so good. Like, it's such a tight, like, standalone thing. Like, if it had just
I've seen
been,
that like 5 times.
If it had just been the first one, like, it would have been a huge thing. But of course, they had to.
It made money.
Yeah, of course it made money, so we got to do more.
Yeah.
And I feel like Empire Strikes Back's great, but then we get the Return of the Jedi, which
that's so bad. Oh my goodness.
I don't want to say it's bad because there's stuff about it that I really love. I think the first act and the third act are so good. Like the first act where he goes through, they have to save Han Solo. Everything up through where he kills the Rancor and then they fly away You know, like the whole fight above the Sarlacc pit, that's cool. Even
that was pretty tense.
Everybody likes to talk about that one kick now, like, oh, look at this bad kick. It's like, oh, okay, sure, he kicked him and he missed him by a mile. Like, I've seen worse kicks on pro wrestling. Yeah, they could have fixed that somehow. I don't know. Like, they probably shouldn't have done that.
It's not the worst thing, though.
Because it's so quick. Like, it's just, you know, unless you've got that film eye from doing production stuff and editing, you're not going to catch that, like, because it's such a quick kick. But, man, does Luke Skywalker miss that guy bigger and shit. But he oversells it, too. Like, he jumps back. But
when I saw that scene, I just laughed out loud. Like, I was like, oh, look, he's kicking the air and that guy's falling backwards. Yeah. Amazing.
He used the Force, man. That's what he did.
Yeah, he just used it with his leg.
They gave him a Force kick. One of the most powerful things a man can do. So he...
yeah.
So, you know, that first act is so strong. And I tell you, my favorite scene, maybe in all of Star Wars, after he kills that Rancor, there's this big fat guy who's wearing a Darth Vader, like, just the part of the helmet. He walks out and starts to cry his eyes out, looking at this Rancor thing as it's laying there dead, this horrible, awful monster. And I thought that was such a great scene. Because it's so... I don't even think it's like 1 minute of footage of this fat guy walking out, just crying his eyes out. And, you know, like the other monsters or something, like, puts a shoulder on him, like, he's crying. He's like, oh, it's okay, buddy. Because to him, this horrible monster, it's this beautiful, like, you don't have to say it. We all understand what's going on. This guy loved this awful monster. This was his baby. And for it to be killed by Luke Skywalker, you know, as he's escaping out of this thing, you know, it broke his heart.
Man, Luke Skywalker is making a lot of enemies. I think he needs to be careful, actually.
Yeah, I think the second act, everything, you know, them going to Endor,
There's some parts that I do enjoy during that sequence. Like, I do like where they're doing the little motorbike thing.
Yeah, the speeder bike stuff's
trees.
Cool.
Yeah.
But it just loses momentum because they're trying to make it look like Luke is turning to the dark side. Like, that's clear to me watching it again as an adult. It was like, oh, I see what's going on. Like, he's starting to wear dark clothes and he's starting to talk in like a weird way. Like, they're trying to like show, oh, he's going to the dark side. Like, is he going to be the bad guy? That would have been a fantastic ending. Had Star Wars 6 ended with, actually, me and Darth Vader are going to work together and be best buddies. And, like, they shake hands like the NWO, like Hulk Hogan when he betrayed everybody and became Hollywood Hulk. That
would have been legendary.
Yeah, because then you've got somewhere to go in 7, 8, and 9 instead of, no, actually, we're done.
Oh, yeah, let's just kill off everyone. Let's kill off Palpatine. Let's kill off Darth Vader. Yeah. Boom. Well, not even freaking... Oh my goodness, Palpatine's not dead. Fucking
he is
sequels.
For me. He is for me because
he is for me too.
I'm not watching those sequels. For me, they don't exist, man. I don't have to watch them, and there's not an amount of money. Somebody could offer me $5,000. I'll be like DSP. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm DSP. $5,000. Keemstar's the one. You know, if Keemstar's involved in making me watch Star Wars, I won't do it. You know,
I've seen The Force Awakens, the one that everyone compares to the original Star Wars movie, probably like 5 times because when it came out, like, everyone wanted to see the movie. So it was like, I was in high school at the time, so like everybody showed it in their class. And so I watched Star Wars like 5 times in school because everyone's so obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And like by like the second or third watch, I'm like, well, this isn't actually good.
Yeah, that's the problem with Marvel movies for me. Like, I'll watch these Marvel movies and be like, man, I really love this. Like, Iron Man was so cool. And then, like, I'll be in a hotel or something flipping channels. Oh, yeah, let's watch little Iron Man. And then it's like, oh, man, we're really starting to pick this apart here. Like, this isn't... Like, we can never rewatch these. Like, this is a one and done, burned, gone. This isn't like a Lord
You can't
of the
even
Rings.
You can't even watch like any of the Marvel movies with Scarlett Johansson after Disney bought it because there's no tits. I refuse to watch any movies where there aren't any tits in front of me.
You know,
it's plain and simple.
People get mad at me for saying it, but I think it's the great horror movie reviewer Joe Bob Briggs says there are 3 B's that a movie needs. That's blood, beasts, and boobs. You got to have
That's
all
a good rule.
3. Yeah, blood, beasts, and boobs. Having all 3 of those, you've got a winner movie. I watched one the other day. I talked about it on either the last podcast or the one we just recorded called Alligator, about if you could believe a movie named Alligator would be about a giant killer alligator, because that's what it was about. And it was fantastic. Like, this alligator was menacing. It was just this awful, destructive beast, and there was a lot of blood. And in the third act, the hero gets laid, so there are just a little bit of boob, not a whole lot, because I don't know if they I don't recall seeing any boobs, but it was implied. They did that kind of thing where it's like, okay, yeah, there's like he's getting laid. It was really good. Like, it was the kind of like good B movie that I wished existed more, because it had a good plot, good characters, like even like side characters. Like, there's a rookie cop who gets killed, pretty early on by the alligator, but he's got a lot of personality, because he's, like, pranking with the detective, and he's the one that volunteers to go in the sewers and look for the alligator. That's, like...
Do all the characters have, what is that word you just used?
Personality?
Yeah, thank you. Personality. Do all the characters have a personality?
Well, there's one scene where a bunch of cops are out on a boat and they just have grenades and stuff, like chasing after an alligator. There's not a lot of character there. I don't even know if those cops had dialogue, but it was still a cool scene seeing cops like shooting at an alligator as they're like in speedboats going down a river. There's some good stuff where there's people that are like, there's no way there's an alligator down in the sewers. You're retarded, dude. No, there's no such thing as a giant 30-foot alligator. You don't know what happened down there. Man,
I want that alligator have the most massive pair of tits. You know what? One day I'm going to make a movie where the alligator has like giant tits.
You know one that did have that does definitely deliver the blood, beasts, and boobs was the Toxic Avenger. You ever see the original Toxic Avenger?
I have not. Many people have requested me see that.
I think that would be, because there's some stuff in there that is... I used to screen movies that year I went to college, and that was always one... I think we screened that one 3 or 4 times, where we get a group of people in, and like I talk before the movie and then talk after the movie. And there's a scene where a bunch of like shithead teens are doing like shithead teen stuff, and they kill somebody, and it's one of the best gore effects in the movie. Like, it's clearly a watermelon that gets splattered, but it's so good, and it gets such a reaction out of people. But
I want to see that.
There's
now.
blood, and the Toxic Avenger himself is this great beast, and there's boobs. He works at a health club where there's lots of girls doing lots of shenanigans, like the...
How many girls?
I couldn't say off the top of my head because it's been a few years since I watched Toxic Avenger. But as I recall, there are quite a few breasts.
That's nice. Breasts are great. I love breasts.
It's a boob-filled adventure.
Boob-tastic.
Yeah. It's kind of a weird... It's not really a superhero movie, even though he's fighting crime and saving the day. He's killing the shit out of people. Like, he kills people in excessively violent ways. Like, he is just because he's a monster.
He sounds like my type of hero.
Yeah, he's like a Frankenstein kind of thing, but it's not. Like, it's hard to describe, You
just had to watch the movie to really understand it.
I caught a little bit of the Ed Wood review you did. Now, Ed Wood... because you said that you hadn't seen Bela Lugosi before, like you'd never seen Dracula. And I thought,
that's correct.
I wish more people would see, like, those fundamental, the universal horror pictures. You don't have to watch all 30 or 40 of them, whatever there is. There's just the key ones: the Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman. Maybe I'd put Mummy and the Gill Man in there, or Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Those are the core ones. Like, you don't have to see, there's one where Lon Chaney Jr. plays Alucard, and it's not a great movie, but I really like the way that he plays Dracula. Like his Alucard it's a little different from the way that Bela Lugosi played Dracula. And it was a cool concept where he comes to America and he's going to steal a plantation from a woman. And so there's a lot of like dated stuff of like, oh, this is how they portrayed the South in the 1930s. And this is how it just like everything about it feels like this great time capsule.
That sounds very intriguing.
Yeah.
Man, I got lots of movies to cover.
Yeah, I don't know how you do a daily movie review. Like, how do you find the time? How do you keep up with it?
It's what I do. It's really what I do. On top of like the twice daily Fansly OnlyFans sets that I do.
Oh yeah. I guess we should mention those OnlyFans though.
Yeah, but that helps fund the daily movie reviews. So I just watch movies, review movies, edit the movie reviews, take photo sets. Yeah. I do streams twice a week, so I do that too.
Oh golly.
It's a lot. And ever since I got the big old Star Wars tweet, the angry Star Wars girl, as I've seen people call me, ever since that tweet, I've been like pretty much up for like days on end.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
Becoming a celebrity and becoming infamous and having
a
following. Yeah, a celebrity. Once you start to really have that stuff and you start to get invited to things, it's hard to say, no, I can't do your show. I have to do this other stuff. It's like, well, opportunity's knocking. What am I going to do? I got to say yes. I have to try. And so it becomes you in the 30th hour of the day going, oh, we've got a quick nap in. We can host a show. We can do a podcast. We can do a live stream. We can be a guest. We can write an essay and try to get it to somebody so they can film a video. And then you see a typo that they bring up on their video. And I go, oh no, my typo. And like I felt my soul escape out of my body, like that Doctor Strange punch when his whole soul gets knocked out of him. That's what it felt like. I could feel my whole soul removed from me and like just hurt. I was like, oh my god, a typo.
It definitely helps that I don't do any scripted content. So, if I did any scripted content, it would take way too much time for my daily movie reviews.
I think bullet points are a lot better. I think having bullet points, being able to, just use like a quick outline to kind of get your thoughts down, to kind of keep you on track. That's what I like to do for stuff.
Yeah. It's been like about over a year of daily movie reviews straight, and just now, like, what is the date? 374.
Yeah,
day like 374, 373 on the daily streak is when I got big, and it's been a long time coming. I've just honestly been.
I'm just so happy.
So focused on. I'm
so happy
reviews.
For you. I'm so proud of you. Like this is hard work paying off. This is, and this isn't, well, what a great career you've had. It's all over now. It's like, no, now I actually get to really work. It's
really
like
the start.
Door, yeah, now you've got a foot in the door. Now people know who you are. Now you got to give them something to buy.
Yeah, when I first started doing the Mint Salad Saw daily movie reviews, I was not very good at speaking. I wasn't confident in my speaking abilities at all. It was because, like, as an autistic person, it's hard for me to communicate, like, all of my thoughts because, man, my brain would, like, go faster than my mouth, and so I'd miss a lot of words, or, like, go slow and, like, try to think of something on spot. But I've gotten a lot better at that now since I've been doing it every day for a year. So it's been a lot of work.
It's just like anything else, Mint. It's putting in the reps, putting in the hours, putting in the work. Like if anybody out there listening wants to do stuff, just start doing it. Start doing like the baby version of it. Do like baby step your way into it, and just because you're not doing like some of these guys are doing like the oh man, who's that fat dude on YouTube that did it was like an 11-hour iCarly video. It's like, dude, this is a lot.
Oh, that guy blocked Riley on.
Oh, that guy blocks
Twitter.
Everybody. He's a blocking dude.
Yeah. Like we started watching that video and Riley's like, I want to follow him, and then like he blocked him. Like, what? Why? Well, I liked his video.
Yeah. There's a lot of that where it's, oh man, I like this dude. And then you go to, it's like, I want to be friends with him. It's like, oh, he doesn't want to be friends with me. Okay, great.
It's sad.
That's his loss. That's his loss, man. That's the way I think of it. I go, we could have been pals with them. We could have talked to them. At the very least, we could have been encouraging to them. Because that costs literally nothing to give somebody an attaboy, an attagirl. Like, that's the easiest thing to do for somebody, but there are times when you need that. When it feels so good to get that pat on the back and somebody saying, yes, I see what you did and you're doing it and you're doing great with it. Like, that feels good.
Yeah, that's always nice. I always just think, like, whenever I see, like, a block screen, I'm just like, hopefully eventually I'll talk to this person in person.
Yeah.
And, like, we'll have a little chat, and they'll know who I am, and then everything will be clear.
Where I started doing I started diversifying out with my Twitter accounts. One of the other meme guys said, oh, you've only got one meme account? You should be niching down and doing lots of different things. I went, oh, okay. And so I have like a computer account, and I have one for like retro stuff, and I have one for like all my Dungeons and Dragons stuff. And it's very interesting to find like, oh man, people in like D&D world who are like want to be my friend. They do not want to be my friend as the meme bastard. They don't want nothing to do with me. They're like, this guy's such a butthole, like he's always so mean. It's like, well, yeah, I kind of am, but it's pretty clearly a character. Like, it's pretty clearly like we're having fun being the silly, like I'm a Hulk Hogan villain. Like, I'm not.
People can lie on the internet?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. People can pretend. People can have a persona and not be the actual person that they say they are.
What? That's criminal. That's a lie.
Yeah.
You got to take that back.
It's a context book. That's what it is. That's what it is, man. It's the sort of thing everybody does. But it's a lot of fun doing work online. And that's what I call it. It's like wrestling. It's a work. You have the persona, but you gotta kind of keep your like who you really are. That's the difference between like the DMs and like the outside, like the video persona, the podcast, even the podcast persona. Like I feel like I turn it all the way up at the start of the podcast, and we kind of ease down into like, all right, let's actually be ourselves now for a while. Let's crawl
it's like
out
anyone
from
who's
under
listening
the mask.
is going to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that statement, I also think it's honestly just fascinating. Like, people who think stuff, like all the things online are 100% true. I just find that very fascinating.
Well, people judge people over everything, too. They're like, oh, okay, obviously this guy's into this, so he's a bad person. It's like, no. He just really doesn't like the way things are going, and that's why he believes the things that he believes. Like, some people are so, locked in on what they're doing that they have no perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
They can't see the forest for the trees. The things right in front of them are the least obvious to them.
Yeah, and it's like, another thing that I've also noticed, it's like is that called empathy when you put somebody when you're in somebody else's shoes?
That's what I would call it. When I think of empathy, like I people have gotten mad at me going, "Oh, you have no empathy. You're always trying to make everything about you." And I go, "Well, I'm trying to say here's an experience I had that was similar to that, and I got through it, and you can too." That's what I'm trying to say. That's empathy. That's what it is for me. is like trying to be like, okay, I understand what you're going through. Like somebody says that they're having trouble with their dog. I go, oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope the puppy's okay. Hope everything's fine. Like that's empathy. It's not your friend has a horrible car wreck and you text them, rip your car. Like, don't be that guy. That's insane. Only an insane maniac would do that.
Only a person who's having a lot of fun would text that.
Yeah, or somebody
lots of fun.
Somebody who's just having a lot of fun, just being a complete prick.
That's so funny.
God, I can't believe like I have said some outrageous things for a laugh. I don't think I ever would text somebody who just had a car wreck, rip your car.
Man, I've said some really funny but also like terribly timed things before. Like I predicted somebody, like for example, I predicted somebody's pregnancy before they told the entire class.
Oh no.
Because they're trying to skirt around it. You guys, you guys, I have something very important to tell you. And they like wouldn't blurt it out, and I just guessed you're pregnant, and then they're like, yeah. And so I just stole the news from under them.
Yeah.
But they didn't get mad that time. But I would imagine other people would get mad other times.
There's sometimes I get past stuff, and it's like, oh man, I don't know what to do with this news. Like, I can't... And I'm told, hey, don't tell anybody this, but this is what's happening. And sometimes it's really bad news that you want to, like, tell all the crew and be like, oh, I got to spread the word around. Everybody has to know this. And I'm like, Don't tell anybody. You can't tell anybody. It's not your place to tell anybody until they're ready. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just hold it to myself and sit here and just stew on it and go, man, oh, man.
That is always the worst feeling. It's like something, but the other person isn't comfortable sharing it with everyone.
Maybe I just say it. Like it was. We're on. I think this will be week 3. Friend of the show. We had him on the show. Donovan. He passed. Young Crip Daddy, and I got the text message. It was like 5-6 o'clock in the evening. I'm like laying there half asleep and looking at my messages and go, hey, don't tell anybody. But I was like, what's going on? What's up? And they told me what had happened, and I just got up and started shaking my head, walking around the room, going, this can't be true. There's no way. And they said, like, don't tell anybody. It's not your place to let everybody know. Wait for the family and everybody to announce it. And I was like, I got to tell. We got to tell all our group. We got to tell Jenna, my co-host. Like, she needs to know, because she loved Donovan too. Like, Donovan was such a great dude. I can't encourage people enough to listen to his comedy album and look at some of the stuff that he did, because he was such a bright, like he shines so bright this last year, and losing him.
I never got
so
to meet him.
I never got to meet him either. But he was in a couple of group chats, maybe not every day, but certainly every week, and he's just a fun dude to talk to, and not having him around to talk to is like we got one less friend, like it's because he understood how to work online. Like, he understood how to play the persona and how to goof on people and how to just be absolutely ruthless on people. And that's the fun of the internet, is having that kind of fun. And the real fun of the internet is making friends with somebody like a Donovan, who is just, the actual person is such a sweetheart. And, he loved this kind of horror movie picture stuff too. Like, he loved this kind of stuff. And it's just been such a weird couple of weeks. And I keep saying to myself, the show must go on. We gotta keep working, gotta keep going. Can't let the train go off the tracks. But
I'm gonna be very honest. Like, before, like, this year, I'd never really had any, like, people that I cared about like die. I mean, I had my biological father die when I was like 11, but I wasn't very close to him, so it doesn't really affect me that much. But like with Donovan gone, Riley got really affected by him because like they're closer friends than I am to Donovan. But I could still like feel his loss, and it's like, oh wow,
yeah, he's
gone.
You can see somebody grieving for somebody that they love, and that's what empathy is. That's where you start to feel like osmosis of it, of like that energy of like, oh man, like we lost our guy, and so like somebody close to me lost one of their good friends. I mean, I guess they were my friend too. Like they were part of our D&D crew. Like we played D&D with them at least 7-8 times. You know, probably went to dinner with them 2 or 3 times. Like, you know, that they weren't not a stranger, but they were definitely a friend. You know, I just wasn't as tight with them. Like they had I don't know exactly what happened, but they died suddenly. You know, like just there's her time to go, and it was a weird one to try to process. Of just like here today, gone tomorrow kind of thing.
It was hard for me to process too, because I do remember just seeing him just he would be on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like just sometimes in my feed, and I'm like, oh, it's him, and now he's not in my feed, and every time I think of that, I'm like, oh wow, he'll never be in my feed again. And I really enjoyed seeing him in my feed whenever I did.
See, I feel like that's not going to be true, because there's guys like me who will run his stuff that he wrote, like some of his tweets and things and those videos. I know my friend Jess, she's run a few of his older videos. Like she found them somewhere. I think they were on a TikTok and she got them. But because he did such good stuff with his mother, like carrying on with her, being silly.
Yeah.
Like that's...
I almost did a Christmas book with Donovan, actually, but it went to the wayside. I got busy with other things, and it never eventually happened. And now that he's gone, I regret not doing it with him.
There's
it was a lost opportunity there.
The longer the internet goes, the more people start to go. Like Lotax is gone, and Lotax, he's been around since. Like late 90s, like he's old internet, and that's and like his last few years have been I don't want to get into all his personal life, but there are reasons why he went, and things weren't going well for him, and I feel bad for him. Like, even with all his troubles and all the accusations and things, it's like he was still a person. He still had people that loved him, and he created a significant contribution to the internet. And allowed opportunities, because like all the memes and stuff, I don't know if memes would be a thing without something awful, like that culture that like, it's hard to put my finger on exactly what I'm trying to say, because there's a certain vibe that GameSpy had, because that's where the Planet Quake, like that kind of stuff is where he come from. Like this is real old internet now. Now I'm getting way out in the weeds, but
yeah, I'm very I'm closer to new internet.
The Web 2.0.
I didn't really know much about Something Awful until people started talking about Lotex dying.
Yeah, it's not really a thing anymore. I don't think Something Awful is as big as it was. I think the forums are still running. I don't know if they're producing content the way that they were. I don't know. I haven't really looked into Something Awful world. Like there's
Riley was friends with Lotex too.
There's a lot of websites and things like that, like Fark. I don't think Fark is what it was. It's probably still around.
I have no idea what Fark is.
Fark was like a web portal where every day you'd go there and it'd be a whole bunch of like links to the best stuff on the internet, and it would all be organized in a way. So like, here's funny stuff, here's weird stuff. Not unlike what your meme bastards would do on a Twitter page.
Okay,
so it was like an aggregate of all this stuff, and it was organized in a pretty neat way. Not dissimilar from like what a BuzzFeed was doing or a Reddit. Because I think a lot of it was user submitted, but I don't know. I don't remember exactly. I think they had
like a congregation of stuff.
Yeah, they had like a big congregation of stuff, and it used to be. used to be huge, and now it's like nobody knows what Fark even was. Like Dig. I don't think anybody uses Dig anymore.
I don't know what even that is, but
before Reddit.
A little bit.
It was before Reddit.
Oh, wow.
And like I don't really use Reddit, to be honest. I don't understand. Everybody tells me, "Oh, here's your Reddit Gold, sir." I don't know what Reddit Gold is. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what the conversion rate is.
Yeah, how do I convert that into real money? It takes cash to make me holler, baby. I need cash. Real
hard dollars. Can I use Reddit Gold to buy Dr. Pepper?
Yeah. How many Dr. Peppers is one Reddit Gold worth?
Exactly. What's the conversion rate?
What is the conversion rate?
I would guess 1 gold equals 10 Dr. Peppers.
I don't know. The internet's such a weird place. I love that people can make a living now. Like there's people who are doing very well creating YouTube content or OnlyFans, or doing even meme work on Twitter. Like now some of the boys are getting some big paydays. So that's I love to see that. I love seeing the guys doing well. I love seeing guys who do cartoons doing well, guys who do even if they're not parlaying it into like Cartoon Network deals, if they're just like, no, we're going to do our own thing.
Like indie stuff.
Like the indie stuff. Yeah, like we're going to do a Kickstarter, we're going to make our own comic book, we're going to do it our own way.
Yeah. I love how like the internet is just like there's a lot more opportunities to make money in like a specific sort of niche. Like animation, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think like 20 years ago, I don't think like Hell of a Boss would even exist.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, I don't really.
It's like so independent.
I tried to watch a little bit of it. I don't think it's for me. I don't think I'm the right demo. But I'm happy for them. I'm glad that they have their own thing and doing their cartoon. I've seen clips of it and and memes and things. Like, okay, I kind of understand what this is. Like it's a successful cartoon.
Style.
Yeah, it's a successful cartoon. That's all that matters. Like, I'm happy for them. The Smiling Friends guys, like those dudes have been so successful with that, and that's.
I have not seen much of Smiling Friends.
There's it's only about an hour long. Like, there's not a whole lot of Smiling Friends out there. It's only the one season now, but I think they're gonna blot out the world with. Usually the way that the cartoons like that do is the first year is like 8 cartoons, second year is like 8 cartoons, third year 90 cartoons.
Oh, geez.
So like that
sounds like Charlie Sheen's contract and that one show that he did.
With
2 seasons.
It was Anger Management, I think is the one you're thinking of. It was an adaptation of that Adam Sandler movie where they decided to put it in like instant syndication, so they needed a certain amount of episodes, and they just kept pumping them out. And same thing with Ninja Turtles. Like the first season of Ninja Turtles was like 6 episodes, 7 episodes, I don't remember. It was something like that. Second season was like 10 or 12. Third season, 90.
Oh wow, that's so many.
Yeah, that's a lot of episodes. You wonder why people are like, oh, the quality of the episodes dipped. They started getting real weird and silly. And, like, there were all these animation errors. It's like, dude, you have no idea.
They put 90 episodes within a season. Isn't a season supposed to, like, represent a year or something?
I think what they wanted was to have, a new episode airing after school hours 5 days a week, and then another one on Saturday. So that's 6 new episodes a week times...
Oh, geez.
Yeah, and then they wanted to hit, like during like the peak hours of the year, and so they had it timed out to where whatever that number was. And I don't know if it was 90 exactly, but it was a tremendous order to suddenly
that
jump like that.
Hell.
That's when you have to bring in somebody like me who will just like clack their hands together and go, all right. You need some content. We will make the content. Will it be the best or will it be the worst? It will be content. We will get stuff out. It will
be out.
Pressure makes diamonds mint. That's what I'm trying to say here. Is that
I agree with
there's
that.
a lot of episodes of the Ninja Turtles in those later seasons, those weird seasons, that are really junky. I think some of the better ones are the ones that go into like parody. So there's.
Is it like the writing or the animation?
It's a little.
That's
It's
like
a little
junky?
of both. A little of both.
Okay.
There's some memorable ones. Like there's one that's a parody of the movie Alien, where there's a pizza alien. That
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a crazy episode. Like I think you would dig it. Where the Ninja Turtles.
I have seen Alien.
Yeah.
And reviewed it too.
So
I know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
there's like this big yellow pizza monster that they have to chase into the sewers. These alien things.
Does he get tiny and then like turn into a really big monster?
Yes, he does.
Yay!
And he looks very much like the alien.
Oh jeez.
The toy company NECA actually put out an alien with the Ninja Turtle colors, like an action figure. And it's like, man, if I had stupid money to just waste on crap, that'd be the sort of stuff I'd buy. There was a like one of these like big like I'm a money guy and I'm a businessman and look at me, I have all this money. And he's got big statues of the Incredible Hulk and Spider-Man and Captain America. And he got mad at me because I said, if I had big money, I would probably be more like Todd McFarlane and want to have statues of my own characters sitting there, not other people's crap. Like, he got so indignant and mad. He's like, what are you talking about? And I go, well, I'm a creative dude, you create your own thing. And make it something that people like. Like, why you got other dudes' crap sitting around? Like, it was like an indignant.
Must be like a super fan, maybe.
Yeah,
he's like not creating stuff on his own. Is that what's up with him?
I don't know. I guess he's just a fan of that stuff. Cause I
don't know much about him, so I don't know.
Yeah, if I could get to that position, if I had written like a really cool Batman story or something, I'd be like, yeah, that'd be a fun thing to have, or like have the cover for that issue hanging up. That'd be something. Like having a movie poster hanging up like now is like where I'm at now. Unless it was a movie that I worked on, I don't know if I'd want to have that movie poster hanging up. Like that'd be a weird thing to have hanging up, just hanging up. Like maybe if it was something like a Frankenstein or a Wolfman, like these really like iconic movies.
But it feels like a cool poster too.
Or if it was a really cool poster that when people came in, they'd be like, "Holy shit."
Yeah, exactly. What franchise is that? Well, actually.
Yeah.
And then you can like name it.
Or what if it was
and they'll be impressed.
What if it was one of those crazy European posters that have like fully exposed breasts and monsters on it?
Ooh, good. That's the best kind.
Yes.
You gotta have them titties out, or else they're not. It's not a real poster. Oh, what if there was 3D titties like on posters?
Oh, like you could actually walk by and touch the poster and go, "Wow."
Yeah.
There's a movie called Frankenhooker that had a button on it that you could push and she would say "Want a date?" Like on the VHS box. Like that was part of the gimmick, and it had if I'm remembering right, I think it had kind of what you're talking about, where it was kind of like her body was like puffed up on the VHS box.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
you could just like stroke the titties.
I'm gonna butcher his last name, Frank Hellenlotter. I think that's how you say that name. He's a very interesting film director. He did The Basket Case. He did the Brain Slug movie. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Oh man, what was the name of that Brain Slug movie? And he did the Frankenhooker.
I haven't seen any of these.
Oh yeah, like you want some independent New York movies. These are. Like, you can just feel, like, the New York sleaziness of them. Like, when New York was a sleazy, sketchy place, like, that's the vibe of Basket Case.
Ooh. Mm. What's interesting about movies is there's so many of them.
Yeah.
Like, I've done, like, 550 at this point. Just movie reviews, 375, I think, daily streak currently. And I still haven't, like, covered any movies. Like, as I watch more movies, I realize how many more movies there are. And it's like, I feel like it has to be, like, some sort of chance to talk to another person about movies, and you guys have both seen the movie. Because it's like, there's just so many movies. There's so many movies that you could have seen other than the one that you did see and are discussing with the person.
Well, there's so many different tiers of movies, too. There's something like, the African Queen, or the Maltese Falcon, which are like a very like higher prestige tier of movies. And then there's stuff like Alligator or Basket Case that are just fun, crowd-pleasing movies. And
or 1, 2, many. Have you heard of that movie?
What's that movie? I haven't heard of this movie.
That's Stuttering John's movie.
Oh, that's why I haven't heard of that movie. It doesn't exist for me.
Yeah, there's I have a whole review on this.
Like Stuttering John was probably already gone from the Howard Stern show by the time you were born.
I only know Stuttering John from Who Are These Podcasts? Carl has one of my favorite podcasts. That's the only reason why I know any of these radio people.
Yeah,
Mr. Carl.
Stuttering John was the announcer. He would do interviews with celebrities for Howard Stern, but he would do them because his awful stutter. He would try to walk up and talk. Hello there, mint salad, and it'd be a very funny thing to hear because here's this poor prick who can't say anything. He can't get the words out. He's just struggling, and he's trying mint salad. Tell me about OnlyFans. Like, he tried desperately to get it out, and he just could not get it out. It was just painful.
It seems like his stutter is not as bad as it used to be.
No, it's not as bad as it used to be. I think he's had some therapy. He's still pronouncing words weird, and because he got poached for the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and left Howard Stern, so I think that caused a bit of a rift there between Howard and Jay and John, Stuttering John. So they would, Howard was ruthless on Stuttering John and Jay Leno for years.
Well, he should have been more ruthless because he created this trash movie 1, 2, many, and the only thing I really remember from this movie, because the plot is really nonsensical and hard to remember, there's a 3-minute shitting scene. It's so gross. Why would you put this in a movie? It's so hard to sit through. I had to take my headphones off.
There's a lot of stuff that people try to do for movies that are either it's comedy that doesn't work, comedy that isn't funny, or it's a horror movie that's not scary, that's not even spooky, that's just bad.
It could have been motivated by from what I've noticed based on personal experience and also just observation. If I try to force something what's interesting, and then from that train of thought I go with something that's usually not the interesting thing, for my angry Star Wars rant video, for example, that was just moments. I was in the moment, all right, I'm going to yell at this camera right now, and then I just went, and then I just kept going, and then I just kept going, and it ended up being about Star Wars. And then that was just in the spur of the moment, and I could have never predicted that when as viral as it did. But with my movie reviews, since it's more I feel more planned, it's less likely to get a viral hit because it's there's more planning into it. You never know what's going to hit with the internet. It's really weird.
This has been a conversation I've had with a couple of people. There's a really funny guy who does really funny sketches, but they go on for 3-4 minutes, and I'm like, man, you got to boil when you're posting the clip, you got to get the first 30 seconds. You got to be in the first 2 seconds. Somebody had in your video, it's instantly clear as soon as you start yelling and you just got the girls out there. It's oh, that's exactly what this is.
The first 3 words is Star Wars fucking sucks.
Yeah, you yell Star Wars fucking sucks, and you're just shoving them in the front of the camera. It looked like you were trying to bend down as much as possible.
I was just trying to get in frame, honestly, because I had the camera on a whiteboard. It was a little bit too low.
And just trying to yell and go as big as possible like a pro wrestler. And it was such a great moment.
That was fun.
Yeah, and I hope you go viral 50,000 times over. I think this is stepping stone 1.
This is just the Star Wars rant. I have a lot more things I can rant about.
Yeah, I'm sure there are other movies that inspire such vitriol and hatred.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than a movie that's just boring. Like if a movie sucks, if a movie's awful, that there's something to talk about there. If a movie's great, there's something to talk about. But if a movie's
if
just
it's mid,
boring, oh.
There's been so many movies while like this year just watching Bin Salad Sauce. Specifically, I'm thinking of like a lot of the Rock movies are so mid.
Yeah.
And so boring.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's other movies that are mid and boring, but like specifically The Rock has a lot of mid movies. I'm not sure why.
I like the Jungle movie he just did, the Disney one. I thought that was fun. It was very like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Jumanji?
No, I think it was called The Jungle Boat.
The Jungle. Oh yes,
Jungle
that one.
Cruise,
I have
Jungle Boat.
That Jungle Cruise. That is a good movie.
Yeah, I like that one, but it felt like they were doing like a Pirates of the Caribbean, but with The Rock. It felt like it was very
That's
much
a good
the
analysis.
same kind of thing, like same kind of stuff, and it's like okay, yeah, like we get it, like he's okay. Like it's all so cyclical. It feels like everything's already been done before. Even if it's not a remake, it's a ripoff or paying homage to something else. Homage and derivative, those are some of my favorite words because that just means they stole the idea from something else. But if they say it in a real nice way, it's a derivative work. Like
you know what's fun about modern movies?
What's that?
I honestly don't think like I haven't seen a modern movie that's as good as like a classic movie since I'm doing black and white movie month movies reviews
I can think
this
of
month.
a couple modern movies that I really really liked. There's a movie called Bone Tomahawk that come out within the last 10 years. Had Kurt Russell in it. It's a Western picture, but it's sort of like a horror picture. They build up a baby face in this one, like an underdog baby face, in such a way that by the third act, the entire world feels like it's stacked against this guy as he has to rise up and like try to save the day. And it's very messy how they get there, and like he doesn't, I don't want to spoil the movie for people that haven't seen it because it's so good. And the same guy that did that one did another one with Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn called Dragged Across the Concrete. And that was another, like, morally complex. There's a lot going on here. And that third act is just such a tense, like, oh, man, this is what they're doing. Oh, man. Like one of those kind of movies. And I love those kinds of movies.
Man, I'll have to definitely check those out sometime.
There's a series in the UK called Inside Number 9. Those have been some particularly brilliant writing. The execution of their ideas, like it's not like every episode isn't the best. Like there's some stinkers in there, but for the majority of them, they have hit me and worked perfectly to the point where some of them have had me like mouth open, like, oh my god, I never would have saw that one coming. That's such a great twist. Because have you seen any of the old Twilight Zones?
I've seen a few episodes sprinkled across several seasons.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to watch them. There's like 10 or 12 of those that are just absolute classic storytelling, like To Serve Man or Time Enough at Last. The Eye of the Beholder, like there's a lot of them, like to the point where I can remember the names of them. But
I usually can't remember the names of anything, but I do remember the plots of stuff that stuck with me. Like there's like this, like there's this spaceship full of guys. They land onto what they think is a planet, and then they have to survive, and they end up killing each other, and then they find out that they're actually in Nevada.
Yeah, they were actually on Earth all along.
Yeah.
Even though they killed one another to steal his water.
That's definitely one of my favorite episodes.
You get those twists. Have you seen the Planet of the Apes, the first Planet of the Apes?
No, I did hear that Rod Serling wrote that.
Yeah, he wrote it, and keep that in mind as you watch the movie, because there's like some twists and turns in it, and going, oh yeah, this, because there's a lot of people the generation just a little bit older than me, for them, like, their movie was Planet of the Apes. They eat, sleep, and breathe that kind of stuff. Like, Star Trek and Planet of the Apes were very much their thing. The way that Star Wars and Ghostbusters and that kind of stuff is my generation's thing.
That makes sense. A bunch of different generations, different medias.
Everybody has their thing. Like, for some people, The Lord of the Rings was their thing. The Matrix was a lot of guys' thing. Like, there's different strokes for different folks. Like, I like those movies, but they were no Ghostbusters.
When I was in middle school, my thing was definitely Steven Universe, but I grew out of that.
Like, I like the Steven Universe. I watched a little bit of it. There's
first season's dog shit. Don't watch the first season. Don't even bother.
I think the first episode sells a show that they don't live up to.
Yeah,
I think that first episode really, where like everything turns pink and there's like the power of friendship has to save the day, and he's got his big powerful cannon, and it just,
the show gets a lot darker, and that's when I started enjoying the show more, when it was a lot darker.
What bothered me was that there was too many episodes where they wanted to fart around in that town.
Yeah, that just
killed the
weird
momentum. That killed the momentum of the show, and was like, I'm done. I don't want to see anything with these stupid people in town. I don't care about them. I want to see the superhero. I want to see the space lesbians. I want to see where this stuff's going. And then
how far did you get in? Like, season-wise?
I have no idea. I watched more of that cartoon than I wanted to. I'll say it that way.
I've seen every episode of the original.
I remember, here's the scene that talked me out of it. There's a scene where one of the gem ladies jumps into another one's puss.
That's the best scene.
And I just saw that and went, oh my God, what is this? And I was like, this is too much. It's
Rebecca Sugar's lesbian fanfiction.
They've gone too far. This is too far. You've taken... It was the same problem I had, the Interview with the Vampire TV show. The Interview with the Vampire TV show takes what was implicit and makes it explicit. So what I mean by that is, if you've seen the Interview with the Vampire,
I have not.
It's it's pretty clear, like, even just seeing like how these vampires, like, they're a little foppish and they're kind of like together, and it's very implicit that the two of them are in a homosexual relationship. It's one of those kind of things. It's like, are they? Like, it feels like they are, but they're not. Are they? Maybe they are. Maybe, but it feels like they're not. And the movie version from the 90s with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, they don't quite get there. The TV series that just came out like a year or two ago, they almost immediately are as explicit as possible. Like, no, actually, they're homosexual men. Like, they go for it. Yeah, and it's very explicit and very upfront. And it's like, well, that was a choice. Like, they went for it.
Changing with the times.
Yeah, maybe that's, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about having it be explicit. What should be implicit. But
it just seems like they removed nuance.
Yeah, but without the nuance of it, without the subtext of it, without that, it feels like a different product, because now it's explicit. Now it's all out there on Front Street. Like, actually, like, they're not just vampire monsters. They're actually boyfriends. It's like, oh, okay. Well,
it's like totally fine to have create gay vampires. Just call it a different thing.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars has the same fucking issue. So, like, just call it a different thing. Or you're gonna have a fucking General Leia floating in the space.
You know what the worst part about that is that it had already been done in Star Trek, like 15 years earlier. Data did that in a Star Trek movie.
It's weird how, like, the modern movies for Star Wars and Star Trek, like, flipped. Like, I've seen a little bit of the original series, and it's, like, it's very political, very, like, focused on, like, the tact of dealing with a situation and how to do it, like, well, also considering, like, everybody's, all the ship, and just considering literally everything. And Star Wars didn't start like that. It literally just started, like, the perspective starts with, like, Luke as a farm boy, and he's like, he's like going into this world, and it's like bigger than him, and he's just like learning into this world, but it's like not really political, really. I mean, there's like empire stuff happening, but like it's mostly focused on Luke. But then like the new movies, it switches to freaking Star Trek 2009, which I also have a review on. Feels like Star Wars, and then freaking Star Wars, especially the Phantom Menace, feels very much like an attempt at Star Trek.
God, that first prequel, like all the stuff with the Trade Federation, like it's so stupid. They want it to be. So there's another famous science fiction book called Dune, and there's a lot of Dune in Star Wars. Like it feels to the point where, you know, if they had wanted to have a lawsuit, maybe they should have. Because there's a lot of Star Wars stuff that feels very derivative of Dune.
Right.
And it feels like even that new Star Wars, the stuff with the Trade Federation, like that feels very Spicing Guild. Like it feels like there's a lot. I think it was Spacing Guild. I can't remember. I'm tired. I've been up for a long time.
Me too. So I understand.
But Dune. I'd be curious to hear how you'd feel about the old Dune and the new Dune movies. Have you done those?
I've never touched a Dune.
They're a little complex. They're a little, but I think the newer one walks you into that world a little cleaner, but it's not as cool as the one from the 80s. The one from the 80s was a David Lynch movie, and they went for it. They had all the craziest designs and weirdest looking stuff.
Ooh.
And it's very interesting. And the special effects, you know, they were pretty on par for what a movie of that time should look like. It was definitely had a budget to work with. And they made a lot of weird choices, and the way they adapted the book was weird too. They tried to, because the book is cut into two halves, you know, like the first half of the book, the second half of the book. And so like the first hour of the movie, like they cover the first half of the book, and then the last like 20 minutes they try to cram all the rest of the book in there as quickly as possible.
That seems a little lopsided.
And it doesn't quite work. The new movie, they just like hard cut, like, all right, part one of movie covers this first half of the book, and I assume that the second half of Dune that's coming out next year is going to cover that second half of the book, and probably that'll do for the first book of Dune. But
it seems like splitting it up like that would make it so the pacing would be a little bit more even.
Yeah, the Sci-Fi Channel did a mini-series of Dune, and they even did some of the sequel books that get into real weird stuff. Because the story of Dune isn't just like a standard, you know, Joseph Campbell, the mono-myth kind of stuff, where you have your hero going on his journey, and he has the mentor, and then he's got the call to action, the refusal to call, all that crap. Like, there's a lot of that in there, and Dune very much feels like it fits that mold. But then once you start to get into the sequels of Dune, that's when we get to some real weird shit. That's when you have, like, one of the later books is called The God Emperor of Dune. And the God Emperor of Dune is a giant worm that psychically controls people and inspires a jihad in his name to go throughout the universe. And it's an incredible book to try to like wrap your head around, because it covers, like, you know, this monster's whole lifespan of how it's tried to bring its version of peace to the universe and control. And it's fascinating. There's different weird groups in the Dune world, like the Bene Gesserit, who are an all-female group of people who, their whole thing is like a genetic. They want to have control through genetic ancestry. So they have like very strict breeding of They have their women assassins go out and like breed with influential people. And they're like assassin women who have a very much like a mind control voice that they can use, so like they can command people to do things.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting, and it's done. it's depicted very well in that new Dune movie. I thought, ooh, that they did that very well. There's these things called mentats, who are like supercomputer people who can run like advanced calculations and things in their heads. And
oh wow,
yeah,
that's a big brain.
Yeah, and they don't go for like they just didn't explain that in the new Dune movie, but the mentats were there. Like all the major factions all have their mentat guy. Right. And there, there's a lot of weird stuff in there, because that's kind of a weird concept, the mentat or the force fields. Instead of having force fields and guns, Dune has swords. They sword fight, and the slow knife penetrates the shield. So they have like sword fights where they try to stab one another, because their laser beams and things don't work. They just bounce off the shields.
Right.
And the old version of Dune has the blockiest, goofiest looking force fields. I want to hear what you think of that, because it is a special effect. They made a choice, and it looks so bad.
Are they able to destroy the shields with rocks and sticks?
No.
Easily?
That would make sense, though. That would be fun. That would have been... that
would be fun.
Because that's how empires should fall, is from barbarians. The empire and all their hubris versus a bunch of little bear men with sticks and rocks.
I still don't think the Ewoks could take down the Empire with sticks and rocks. I mean, I know America took down Britain with essentially sticks and rocks.
Yeah. Well, we had rednecks, though.
Yeah,
that was
true.
guys
we
like
did have
me.
rednecks.
That was guys like me from Appalachia who were strategists. We're strategists, and we fight dirty. That's something that the British weren't willing to do at that time. Like if it's a war, I'll tell you right now, man, if we go to war, I'm fighting dirty. Anything dirty I can do, all the worst moves, all the bad stuff that you're not supposed to do.
Anything to win.
Anything to win, yeah, I'd do it all. I'd do it all and do it as dirty as anybody had ever done. But I would be the type that would go and start to look through all the old books I could and go, all right, what were the dirty moves that other guys did before? And I would try to find...
Because nobody's looking at those old books.
Yeah. There's a famous guy in World War II who supposedly he learned to read some amount of German so that he could read through one of his rival, this guy who had become a German tank commander. He learned German so he could read this guy's journal from World War I and learn all of his plays and strategies. And famously is supposed to have said, Rommel, you magnificent bastard, I read your book. I know everything about you. Like there's even if they have that really line in the movie, the Patton movie, where he's just like, you bastard, I read your book. He's just so excited out there enjoying his war.
Oh man, that sounds like a blast of a time.
Yeah, it's a different character, a different cat. Like people aren't made like that all the time. Oh.
Like a cat?
Yeah, a cat man.
Okay.
I think we've been going for a long time. We're getting real weird now. We're getting into real weird
I'm getting real tired.
Yeah. I'm getting tired too. Mint, where can people find you when you're not tired? Where are they going to find you when you're wide awake, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, front and center, happy-go-lucky?
Well, I do daily movie reviews on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/ASC Presents. The series is called Min Salad Saw. I also do movie review requests. You can fast track one. $20 Redunos for one movie review. Patreon.com/ASC Presents. And if you want to go check out my spicy sites to help support the daily grindiness of all them movie reviews, you can check out my Linktree, linktr.ee/Titsman So that's where you can find me.
You know what they say, Mint, in Dune, is that the spice must flow, and he who controls the spice controls the universe. I'm Mask_Bastard. I control the spice of all of the memes. I'm everywhere all at once. If you've watched a YouTube guy and you love what they said and thought, man, this was funny, there's a good chance Charlie was in their ear saying some crazy stuff, getting them going. All right.
Ooh.
I think we might be done. I think this is a podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye
Goodbye.
bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Like and subscribe. Bye.
Do that.
Uh.
Me too.